Thought I'd start a few minutes early. Last time I did this, for some reason it didn't work right and had to start over, but it looks like it's working good this time. Let's see. Let's play a little bit of demo music here. How many? I can play 20 seconds, huh? That is off. Hold on a second. Omnidirectional. Sorry. That is off of the At Last CD from the 50th anniversary. That's a cool CD that you get. Cool CD. With the 50th anniversary set. Shoot, I don't think anybody should. I got two. With this, you get that demo CD, which is really cool. Here, let me play something else on it. Rainy Day Shuffle. So you get all the stuff that Jimmy was working on in the studio, I guess, and in his hotel room or wherever he was.
I swear I got this time.
Pretty cool. And I mean, a lot of just him talking, and
I've never seen this song.
This is Long Hot Summer Night. Hey, Dank, Daryl Dank. Thank you. Gotta be sure I don't play too much of this or they won't even let me post this video. Let's see, where's another one? Oh, I really love this version here. So, main reason I wanted to get you guys on here, I don't have too many people here right now, but I get a lot of people asking about vibes, and I wanted to, I don't even remember how I came across Sabbadius Effects out of Argentina. I think it was Chris King Robertson from the UK, who's a really great player, just working on his second album right now. If you haven't looked him up, Chris King Robinson, he's the one that runs Pedal Pawn. If you've ever seen stuff for sale, he has a lot of vintage pedals and stuff on Pedal Pawn. Actually, I bought my Fuzz from him. But either way, somehow I found out about Sabbadius, and so I decided to check out the Mr. White pedal, which I wasn't sure exactly what it was, and I've got it, and I'm still working on it. I'm going to do a video, but it has some interesting aspects to it, like sticking it at the beginning of your pedal chain or at the end, and I like it better at the end, but I'm going to do a demo video on that later. And I just posted another video of Nicolás Sabbadin playing or demoing all of, or 3 or 4 of his pedals, the Vibe. his new wah wah, which he doesn't even have for sale yet, which sounds pretty good. I like the way it sounds. His Fuzz, which has this really cool wah wah trick knob, which will probably help a lot of guys understand why or help them to get their wah and their fuzz to work together. You know how we switched mine yesterday. You can't get those things to work right if you put the wah wah before the fuzz, like Jimmy always had it. You know, everybody looks at his rig and says, okay, he's going wah wah, fuzz, Uni-Vibe. And then when you hook it up like that, your wah wah doesn't work right. And everybody tries to add buffers to their wah wahs and all that. And so Nick, I'm just going to call him Nick for now. He should be online here in a little bit. I think he was doing something with his son, getting ready for bed. But that's one of the reasons I came on here tonight, was just to introduce you guys to this pedal, this Funky Vibe, and tell you why I think it's probably closer to the original than most of the pedals out there, especially for the price. You can't beat it. But Nick approached the fuzz wah dilemma a different way. You know, everybody adds a buffer to their wah wah to try to make it work with the fuzz before the fuzz. And what Nick did was add a knob to the fuzz to make it work with the wah wah. And I think that's a better approach. And that video I posted earlier tonight shows you he's actually working the knob, and you can hear the wah wah squealing, and he backs off the knob just until the wah wah stops squealing, and then it sounds great together. I mean, it would take a lot of experimentation on my part to find out why it's such a big deal to have your wah first anyway. Mine sounds great when I put it after my fuzz, and I've had it that way because it's the only way it works with the fuzz. Hey, there's Nicolás right there. Hey, Nick. We'll call you Nick for short tonight. Yeah, we got 13 people there. I haven't heard from anybody, but I'm not sure where they are right now. You guys let me know where you're located. It may take a while to get a few people on. It's hard to pick the right times. I mean, I did a random one the other day, and I think I ended up with about 25 people. Okay. But I was just talking about your Nick's approach to the fuzz wah dilemma, where you put the adjustment knob on the fuzz, and then that works pretty cool. But I'd like to try those things out just to see if there really is an advantage of putting your wah first, since that's the way Jimmy did it, or just switch them, which seems to work fine for me. But maybe you get a little bit different sound if you make the wah work first. But let's see, I'm still going to wait around a few minutes. What time? It's 7:10 right now. Well, Nick, I was just telling them how we met, and I can't even really remember. It hasn't been that long. We got London. We got Louisiana. Oh, Patrick. Hey, Patrick. Patrick lives right down the street. I haven't met him yet, though. But yeah, I can't remember. It's only been a little while since I met Nick, but he wanted to talk, so we Skyped. And I think the first time we Skyped for a couple of hours, and after talking to him and hearing his story on how he's developed his pedals, and he's been doing it since 2001, I think, correct, Nick? And he's been working on his Vibe pedal, this Funky Vibe, since 2004. So he's passionately trying to get this thing to sound exactly like the original, as close as possible, at a decent price. And I think he's done it. That's why I'm trying to share this with you guys, because a lot of people ask me, what Vibe recommendation? I mean, there's quite a few out there, and I haven't tried them all. I've only tried two, and only one real one, the one I've got now, the classic amplification Vibe Baby. And the other one I had was a pickle vibe, love pedal pickle vibe. And that was a little miniature thing. I know it was probably based off of LEDs. But once I talked to Nick on Skype for several hours, I knew he knew exactly what he was doing, and he said a lot of things that kind of touched a spot on me with like voltages on the old units. You know, the old Uni-Vibe, you plug it into a 120 volt outlet, so it has a transformer inside of it that transform, you know, steps down the electricity to 22 or 24 volts AC. Well, you'll notice that almost every pedal out there right now runs on DC power, and that's mainly for a convenience. Everybody's got a 9 volt, you know, brick or a power supply, or 18 volt they'll have. And so most of them use the 18 volt DC, and they'll up convert it to maybe 22, 24 volts, but it's DC. And Nick discovered that, you know, the DC doesn't sound the same as AC. And when he said that, I said, well, now I know he's on to something, because if I was going to copy a pedal, I'd run it off of the same voltage and type of power, AC. So what he did, and this is one thing that Nick might have to jump in on, is that he built his own adapter in his wall wart, which is a transformer in a box that you plug into the outlet, and then that puts out 24 volts of AC going into the pedal. If you had to put a transformer in the pedal, then you end up with a bigger pedal, because those transformers are pretty big. So he puts it in the wall wart. Everybody else just uses DC power so that they can, you know, have the convenience of using a power supply, like is so common on all boards. But so once he said that, I said, well, now we're on to something. And I would always have tried to run my pedals on the same exact power that the old one used. So he had that. The other thing I asked him, and I don't know if you guys know that we're all kind of victims of environmental regulations in a certain way. And I mean, what happened years ago, the EPA banned the use of cadmium in a lot of products, and so you couldn't get them anymore. Well, it just so happened that the photocells on the original Uni-Vibe were made from cadmium, which is a hazardous material. And so they made it illegal, actually, to make photocells, I think, out of cadmium. So now they make them out of silicon. So a lot of vibes probably use the newer silicon photocells, which don't sound the same. And it's even hard to get the right light bulb for those things. And Nick has sourced everything as accurate as he can for that vibe. And so once I heard it, I said, wow, that does sound really good. So I don't have mine yet, but I'm going to get one. But so he's got the cadmium photocells. He's got the 24 volt AC supply. So I knew that he was doing everything he could to replicate the original Uni-Vibe. So that's why I wanted to share that with you guys. The classic amplification Vibe Baby that I've used, I don't recommend it anymore, because Brad in Washington's going out of business. As far as I know, he might sell his business, but he's retiring, and he's making a couple of units, a run, I think, this year, and maybe a few at the beginning of next year, and then he's out of business. And yeah, Patrick says the voltage and type definitely makes a difference. I bet you can't find another pedal on the market that's running 24 volt AC unless it plugs in to the wall into a 120 volt outlet. Everything else is going to be DC, most likely. So that's really good. and I was happy about that. But I mean, all you have to do is listen to the videos. We've got some crude, iPhone videos or smartphone videos that I posted yesterday and today. I think they sound great. And we'll try to get some better ones going. I mean, this is what I use to do all my videos, is what I've been using for 9 years. And I've tried to upgrade, and this is all I've come up with so far. And luckily, the microphone in this little flip camera can handle the volume of my amps. But so I try to do the best sound I can get. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it's a little bit overwhelmed. I mean, the amps are so loud. But yeah, so I got excited, especially right now. Nick has 2 units, I think, that don't have the cancel mod added, and I'll explain that in a second. For $300 plus shipping. Shipping from Argentina is a little more expensive. I think it's somewhere around $40. Nick can put that up. But Nicolás Sabbadin. I'm working on my Spanish because my family lives in Spain. My Spanish is horrible. I apologize. But yeah, when I found this and I started listening to it for $300, you can't beat it. And I was looking before I knew anything about Sabbadius Funky Vibe. I was looking at the Sir Henry Vibe by Tinsley Audio, and they're out of Atlanta or someplace, I forgot. But and I think Nick knows the designer of that pedal too, because he's actually the amp tech for Kenny Wayne Shepherd and a couple other people that you guys know. So he knows his stuff. But his is $600, and it sounds good too. But it's $600. It's twice as much as the Funky Vibe. Okay, well, Nick, you see, they don't understand why one would want AC for the pedal. Nick can explain that. I mean, he can't give away all of his trade secrets, I'm sure, but he did discover, I know he discovered that the AC sounds different than the DC. Now, electrically, I can't tell you. And yeah, just to keep the original current flow into the circuit. But I know he said he discovered a sound difference too. But either way, it's I would always go with the AC. Just because I'm particular. I mean, I would want carbon comp resistor. When I copy something, I want it to be exact, and it's really hard to do nowadays because you can't buy a lot of those old components. But hey, David, how are you? All right, we're getting some more people here. London. Yeah, it's pretty late in London. It was about 2 o'clock, 7, 8. Yeah, 2 o'clock in the morning in London. España. Man, we got Spain. That's 2 o'clock in Spain too, I think. You guys are staying up late on a weekday. Well, that's cool. And Dave's from Louisiana. Shoot, I don't even know. Close to New Orleans, or you over in Lafayette or something? I didn't know David was from Louisiana. Nacogdoches, wow, the central Louisiana. That's a cool place. Well, we were just talking about, I mean, for the price, I really, that's my recommendation now, is the Funky Vibe. And what happened was, this is when Nicolás really impressed me, because here on the original Uni-Vibe, the way it worked, you had the unit and you had your expression pedal. And the expression pedal, of course, controlled the speed, but I don't think a lot of people understand that when you push the heel all the way down at a slow speed, there was a little switch, and it was called cancel. And when you push it all the way down, you can shut the vibe completely off, the vibration or the swell, but the preamp circuit always stays on because it wasn't a true bypass pedal. So one of the beauties of the Uni-Vibe is it makes your guitar sound better just going through that circuit. Just the same thing you hear on a Echoplex, you know, the EP3. I mean, they actually sell exotic electronics. It sells a little pedal called the EP3 or EP2 boost, or the EP booster. And all they did was take the preamp out of an Echoplex, I'm sorry, and put it in a little box because it makes your amp sound better, or your guitar sound better. So on Nick's old pedal, the old Funky Vibe, when you hit true bypass, you turned off the vibe, but you also turned off the preamp circuit. And I said, well, no, I would like to have the preamp on because I leave my classic Vibe Baby on all the time. It gives me such a nice boost that I can hardly play my guitar without that thing on now. So he said, yeah, maybe I can put a little toggle switch in there to give you the cancel mode. I mean, this was late in the afternoon. The next morning, he called me on Skype. And he already had in those videos I posted, you can see the cancel switch right in the center, and it works perfectly. So with the Funky Vibe, you still have the expression pedal, but when the heel down, it's just a slow speed. It doesn't shut off the vibe. So you can build your own expression pedal for fairly cheap. Just have to buy the wall type case and stick your switches in there. It's pretty easy. That's what I'm going to do. So the pedal just controls the speed. And if you want to cancel the vibe completely and keep the preamp circuit on, then you push the cancel switch and you can leave it on all the time. And you don't have to do true bypass. And that'll actually give you a little boost. So that is in the model that is on reverb.com for $334. That includes a cancel, the new, I'm going to call it the Millstep cancel switch mod. And I think you'll like it. I had one guy who another subscriber just bought one. And I said, well, did you get the cancel mod? And he said, no, I didn't need it. I already had a Beano boost that I have that serves the same purpose. So if you have an EP boost or something like that, and you don't need the cancel mod, then you probably can get it for $300. But I would prefer the cancel switch. Yeah. So, okay, Carlos. Yeah. So they're still selling those, and that's been my recommendation for years, and it's still a great pedal, and it's got everything said, but it is running on DC, but it's a 22 or 24 volt DC. But Carlos just bought one, and he says when the boost is on and the vibe is off, it's amazing. And I know, because that's what I use all the time. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Patrick. I'm just looking. Patrick lives close to me, and he grew up in studio in the country, which if you look it up, some big names that recorded there. It's right, maybe 30, 40 minutes from my house, but I've never been there. It's literally a studio out in the country, and his dad used to work there. And he says he learned everything about recording hanging out at the studio with his dad. And so he just offered to help me with a couple of decent mics, and maybe we could get a good setup to get to upgrade from my flip, which I've done for 9 years, I think now. And I actually tried to upgrade, and some people complained and said, "Oh, I like the flip sound better." So I went back to the flip. They don't make the flip anymore. And my old one broke, which was devastating. I wore it out. I'm trying to find my other one. So I ended up buying two so I could do a picture in picture and everything. And this one only goes for an hour, and this one goes for 2 hours. This is exactly like the one I had, but for some reason, these don't sound as good as my old one. You know, that story. So yeah, Pat's saying the preamp section was the secret, and that's what we're trying to keep intact when Nick added the cancel switch. So we got that on there. So that thing's ready to go. And like I said, I was just surprised the price for the Sir Henry 600. The Vibro actually made by Shen-ei. I'm not sure I say that right. I've forgotten they still make one. It's $900, I think, or $800. I think it's $800. So you're not going to beat the funky Vibe for the price. And if we don't watch out, Nick probably raise prices because he's going to realize what he's got. And so you should buy one now. I'm going to. My problem right now is I got to go to Spain, and every time I go to Spain to see my family, it costs us close to $3,000. So that kind of hurts every time I go, but gotta go. Hey, 71 Hooker. Let's see. I didn't get the fur. Oh, hello, España. You're just saying the whole thing is interesting, I guess. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. What I wanted to try to help you guys with are effects chains and order. Just go get the Funky Vibe and you'll be happy. We can come back to that. But Nick and I have been talking a lot lately, and I told him my order chain, which has changed, quite a bit over the years. And he said, well, do this. And I already told him that the fuzz wah or the wah into the fuzz wasn't going to work. But just for fun, I switched everything around like he suggested, and it sounded different and very good. It gave me a little bit different variety of my fuzz and the OCD, and then I had the Alienist. And then why I'm telling you this is if you have more than 3 or 4 effects, every once in a while, just shuffle those things around. I mean, there is some rhyme and reason to some of the stuff that you have to do, but I'm really liking the sound right now. I changed everything around. I don't know if you can see it. Switched everything around down there. I did this is the Vibe, the Dennis Cornell fuzz. This is my wah-wah. Then I go into OCD, the Alienist, the Mr. White pedal by Sabbadius, and then the MXR carbon copy. And this is something that I learned yesterday that I also wanted to tell you about as far as buffered pedals, unbuffered pedals, true bypass, different types of true bypass. I never realized it, but what happened was I took I had the Mr. White works really good at the end of your chain. If you're losing some signal, you can boost it back and get your signal back using the Mr. White because it has an output and a boost knob on it. And so I took out the MXR carbon copy at the end of my chain, and I put in the Mr. White. And I noticed that there was a little bit of difference in my clean guitar tone. And I went, well, shoot, it actually sounds better with the MXR. So Nick and I talked about it, and it turns out, true bypass is exactly that. It just bypasses your signal, or it passes it through without going through the circuit. And even though the MXR says it's true bypass, it really isn't true bypass. Because in the way you can tell is, if you have your guitar plugged in, you may have noticed this on some of your effects, and all of a sudden your 9-volt supply comes out, and then your guitar shuts off. Well, then that's not true bypass, because your guitar should stay on. So I remembered that, and I looked it up. The MXR actually has some kind of, Nick understands it better than I do, but some kind of buffered bypass that they call true bypass. But it actually boosts the signal a little bit. My point is you have to be careful where you put your pedals, because after we talked about my pedal chain, we moved everything around, and instead of just eliminating the MXR, I pulled it back one effect and stuck the Mr. White after the MXR. And now everything sounds really good, because I still had that MXR buffer in there. But my Framptone amp switcher, that big white box down there, it has a buffer in it too. But still, the MXR helps out. And then I go through a whole other mess after the amp switcher. I go through 2 reverb units and the Echoplex. And that Echoplex adds a lot of boost too. It almost adds too much boost. I mean, you don't expect to get a really clean channel when you're running that Echoplex. Yeah. Yeah, that's what Pat said. I think it's great, Nick. Well, you guys, I guess everybody can see these comments. Oh, yeah, Pat's dad owned the studio for 30 years. I didn't know that. That's crazy. Well, then your dad must have recorded. Pat, did your dad record Johnny Winter and all those guys? He must have. Yeah, relay bypass. That's what Nick is saying. And it kind of boosts your signal, which is, it's a good thing. So, but with the and that's what Nick was saying. That's why they a lot of times will say to put your echo at the end of your chain, because they all probably have that type of bypass out of necessity. But hey, Brian, I can't play it. We tried, and there's something wrong with YouTube live stream. When I get this stuff going really loud in here, all of a sudden the sound just slowly gets less and less and less to where you can't even hardly hear it. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of auto attenuation on the audio of YouTube streaming software or whatever they use, but I haven't been able to solve that problem yet. Anyway, do that. Put your echo right before the Mr. White. If you ever use the Mr. White, I'll have to do a demo on that. It's kind of hard to explain. It changed everything last night, so I've got to go back and relearn the Mr. White. And but that's it. Mainly, I just wanted to introduce you guys to Sabbadius Effects, because I had never really heard about them, and probably not a lot of people have, just because they're in Argentina. But he's a great effects builder. And if you go on reverb.com, he does have 12 other effects, which I haven't even begun to really look at, except for his fuzz. Which, like I said, the fuzz has got a really cool thing. It's got a knob on it called Wah Wah Trick. And if you watch that video I just posted a couple of hours ago, it'll show him working the wah wah trick, and you can hear the wah wah squealing after he kicks it in. He just backs that knob off a little bit, and all of a sudden it stops, and then the wah wah works perfectly. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, Brian, like I said, I did quite a few tests trying to get it to where I could play while we were doing these, and it's really pretty difficult because I'd seen a couple other live streamers on YouTube do it, but I think their guitars are just a lot quieter, and they're going through, some kind of computer interface, I think, which makes it a little more manageable. I mean, here we're doing 120 decibels of pure tube wattage, and it gets crazy loud. But that's one thing I really like about the Mr. White. I mean, I literally have given myself tinnitus. I've, got a constant ringing in my ears that I'll have for the rest of my life, which I don't recommend to anybody. And I only got it after I bought these vintage Fender amps because they are super loud. The only way, 120 dBs of pure saturation. But what I was going to say about the Mr. White is it has the output knob on it. So now I can control the output I can play both amps and turn it down to where it just doesn't totally blow me away using the Mr. White. And I really like that. I haven't had that option ever on any of my things. I'm trying to think of, the only way I'd be able to control it is that. Well, this controls all the effects. It turns down the volume of the whole effect chain, which is really nice. With the Mr. White, your sound is more rich in frequencies, more and deep. Yeah, and that's one thing Nicolás wanted me to tell you guys. The one that I've got is the Mr. White Special. I don't think it says that on the box. But special means it has the Hendrix preamp mod in it. And that preamp mod is, let me see. He told me it's extra. Oh, I'm looking up on. We've been Skyping for a few days here. He probably already posted it. I think it's an extra $34. Don't quote me. But it is extra to get that Hendrix preamp mod. And what it does is it adds a little bit of grit to the signal, and it also lowers the output. It sounds a little bit more like studio stuff, just cranked, but not cranked, which is kind of nice. What is the attenuation in the Mr. White? And Nick's going to have to answer that question. Let me start looking through all these. I've been talking too much, but I just wanted to tell you everything. Juggle your effects around occasionally just for fun. If it doesn't work, you know where they were to begin with. Put them back to where they were. But I mean, I always have to have my fuzz before my wah, and Nick wanted me to put my wah before my fuzz. I did it exactly the way he sent, just for fun. And of course, the wah didn't work at all. So as soon as I switched those two, the whole thing sounded great. Trying to think of anything else I may have forgotten to tell you guys. I don't know if you saw my warranty repair, my Polytune. This thing wasn't tuning right. And so they have a 3-year warranty. That's pretty cool. I contacted them. They had me send them a video of what it was doing. And within a week, I had a new Polytune Noir, which is that little, it's so small you can't even hardly see it. It's a little black tuner right there next to the Vibe Baby. And it works really good. But so keep these guys honest, man. Use their warranties. I've been getting all kinds of warranty stuff here lately, repairs and replacements. Shoot, I even got patio furniture. It's like this huge table and chairs made out of cast aluminum. I showed them the finish was chipped a little bit, and I wanted to know if that was the way it's supposed to be. They didn't have anybody out here that could repair it, so they sent me a whole another table with 8 chairs, swivel chairs. I mean, a very expensive set. I couldn't believe it. That's a little bit, but I'm just telling you, check your warranties, make sure that you're getting your money's worth, because you pay for that warranty. How does the attenuator affect the tone of those old Fender amps? That's what like I said, I'm playing with it again, but that's what I'm liking about it. It doesn't affect the tone. I mean, you can, it's a lot of adjustments between the boost and the output. And then plus there's a clean and a dirty switch. Plus I have my Hendrix mod preamp. There's so many variations. That's why I don't like doing demos on an effect I've only had for a couple of weeks or so, because as soon as I do it, I'll discover something else and say, shoot, I should have put that in the video. So I'm trying to make sure that I get everything, that I know everything about that pedal. Yeah, Carlos is asking that. Now, this is something that Nick and I have been working on. I mean, Nick has studied Hendrix's rig and everything about that sound for years and years, so he knows a lot more, but that's why he does his same exact way. Wah into his fuzz, which does work, the Texas Red fuzz with the wah-wah trick knob. And it's silicon, which I don't know if he would make one out of germanium or if it even makes a difference, because his sounds really good. Into the Vibe, his Funky Vibe, and we're going to do some more videos and you can hear it. I mean, there's a few places in there where he hits the fuzz and the Vibe, and it just sounds heavenly. When I heard that, I said, that's it. I gotta get that stuff. The sad part is I want everything, the wah, the fuzz, the Vibe, and like I said, I blew everything on a darn Echoplex, and those things are so overpriced. There's the Echoplex, but I'm starting to love it. It took me a little while to get used to the Echoplex. I had the volume of the Echo up too high. They're really pretty sensitive. You got to keep that volume down for them to sound their best. And it took me a couple of weeks to learn that. I'm just looking at you guys talking to Nicolás. Yeah, the cranked Marshalls. I mean, nobody can duplicate that. Can you imagine going into a bar nowadays? I was even talking to my wife about, I said, they used to harass Jimmy all the time about being too loud. And I said, now he's the greatest guitar player in the world. But, you know, they harassed him all the time. They'd kick him off stage. And that's exactly what they would do to us if we showed up with one stack, a half stack, or, you know, let alone 2 stacks or 3. Yeah, well, you know, Carlos says I got the best Hendrix sound, and I'm not really trying. I mean, a lot of it was chance. I noticed that it sounded like Hendrix, and then I kind of worked from there. It wasn't like I was shooting for that, but then I realized, I said, shoot, all you have to do is get what Hendrix had, and you're probably going to sound pretty close, and that's what I've done. But there's always, I don't have an original Uni-Vibe. I don't have an original fuzz face, because all that stuff's out of wacky out of price. But that's why I'm still trying to improve. I mean, as much as I like the Vibe Baby, I'm not sure. I don't think it may have the exact same throb, because Chris King Robinson has an original Uni-Vibe, and I looked at one of his videos, and check him out because he has quite a few demos on YouTube. And he played that original Uni-Vibe, and I said, man, there's just something there that I'm not getting. So, and that's, you know, it's a pretty reasonably priced Vibe too. I think it's $250. That was another reason I recommended it. But for $300, if I can get more throb, I'm going to do it. But, you know, nowadays I got to sell something to do it. Here, let me play you guys while you guys are talking. Let me play you some more of this Electric Ladyland at last, the beginning. I can only go 20 seconds at a time or they're going to hurt, you know, the Jimmy police are going to harass the hell out of me. Let's see. Let me put this on stereo. That might, maybe that'll pick it up a little better. Let me stick you guys out of here a little bit. I apologize. I have a blown computer speaker, so if I turn it up too loud, it will distort, especially on bass. But this is what you get when you buy that 50th anniversary set, plus a 5.1 surround sound mix of Electric Ladyland, which is amazing. This is just Jimmy sitting around in his bedroom, I think. I have to jump at about every 18 seconds. Can you guys hear that stuff okay?
Hello, this is my shaky voice on the phone. Well, how you doing? Oh, I stopped to stutter. Can't you tell I'm doing fine?
Oh, shit. I went over 20 seconds. Sorry. This is snowballs at my window. All right. Hopefully. You think Janie's going to come arrest me? Don't report myself. I don't know, man. They get... Oh, man. Yeah, let me see. Andy says she's a witch. Who's Andy? Yeah, that's too bad. Here, somebody wanted me to do this song. I'll try, Nick. I don't think you're going to be able to hear the difference, but I will see what you got. You'll see what I'm talking about when I turn this stuff on. It takes a few minutes for all this stuff to warm up, though. "21 seconds." She's probably up there with her stopwatch. This is just sound effects. All right, That sounds okay. I'm going to turn the gain down a little bit just so my amp doesn't blow everything away. Fun to listen to him just sitting there goofing around. just probably half asleep, but he's just so good at. Stop. All right. Yeah. Well, at least you guys are here now. If she reports me, who knows? I'll just have to delete the video. Really? Change the speed? I'm on iTunes. How can you change the speed of the song? Oh, crap. You'll get a nasty letter. I hope not. Oh, man. Let's see. There's all kinds of.
I've never seen this song.
These are all 3 demos of Long Hot Summer.
Hello, this is my shaky voice on the phone.
Hello, this is my shaky voice on the phone. Well, that's. Here's Angel.
Angel, come down from heaven.
And another, well, they also add they have the full Hollywood Bowl concert in there, which is actually pretty bad. It sounded like that was chaos. And if you want to hear Jimmy have problems with his guitar tuning, just watch this one. Okay, I'm getting pressure to turn my amps on. Hold on a second. I got to turn on about 10 things over here. I put on the rest of those Highwood saddles today, so my guitar might be a little out of tune. And that's a lot of stuff. Yeah, I still highly recommend those Highwood Strat saddles. Man, I love those things. I hadn't put them on my wound strings, and I did that today, so I've been kind of adjusting the height and intonation and everything. Let's see. Sounds awesome. Well, cool. I'm not going to play anymore. I probably already got in trouble. Now, okay, so Nick wants me to play the Jimmy mode, which I seriously don't know if you're going to be able to hear it. Let's see. Should I go stereo? Omni. Maybe I'll go stereo here. Just move this over here a little bit. All right, everything's warming up. I'm just reading comments right now. Scott, hey Scott, play it loud. Oh man. Well, the thing is, yeah, it's 8 o'clock. I can get away with it. I've been cutting my neighbors slack and stopping at 7, but they won't get too mad at me if I do it for a few seconds, I hope. Stereo. Oh, the hum of warm tubes. A lot of that hum is actually the Echoplex. Can you hear that? And that is actually the carbon copy's on and the Mr. White's on. All right, yeah, that's all that's on right now is the, let me see. That's all it's on is the Mr. White. I don't have the Hendrix mod on yet. And that's the 59 basement. This is the 60 basement with the Echoplex. The output on the Mr. White's at about 11 o'clock. And the boost is around 9 o'clock. And I'm trying to read. Now both amps are on, and that's my vibe. So now I've got the Mr. White off, and actually everything got louder. Now that's getting loud. So that's why I have the Mr. White on to kind of attenuate everything a little bit. Okay. Now I got the Hendrix mod on. Now the Mr. White's back on. Shoot, I gotta warm up. Can you hear that? Echoplex, light and funky vibe. I don't have a funky vibe. I turned the vibe off though. But see, that gives me a little bit of volume control. Now if I turn the white off again. It gets pretty darn loud. Whoa. What's that doing to the microphone? Okay, Mr. White's on now. With the Hendrix, I turned the boost up a little bit. I get a little carried away with the Echoplex, but I got a foot switch for that, so. And I was getting carried away with the fuzz too. So now I've got the Mr. White off, so it gets really loud. Okay, now I got the Hendrix mod off. So I'm just a hint, I'm working on that song. fuzz trick where you turn the fuzz on and still get a clean sound. That's all you get. That's all the neighbors get. Oh, man. That's the fun part about the Echoplex. Anyway, I'm going to do a better demo on that. It's hard to tell. Like I said, it's really hard, especially with... I probably blew that thing away. Yeah, my goodness is right. I can't imagine. It just went nuts, I'm sure. Beginnings. Yeah, that's it. I really like that song all of a sudden. I hadn't heard it in a long time. I'll get it down. I just, like I said, I just started working on it. Whoop. Let me turn the hum monsters off here. All right. I said I have no clue. I'm going to have to go back and listen to this thing to see what kind of craziness that created. I can't imagine. How is the hum hiss with that pedal? You mean the Mr. White or the Echoplex? The Echoplex is noisy. The Mr. White is very quiet. That's why, I mean, that thing is dead silent. Well, I can't say that. If I did stick it in front of all my effects and turned everything all the way up, and you can make it noisy if you turn everything all the way up. But I mean, it wasn't the Mr. White that was probably causing the noise. It was all the other stuff that I had on. 45 seconds ago. The Vibe stereo. No, not. Oh, yo. Yeah, you're talking about the Funky Vibe. Yeah. Man, I had that thing going crazy. Noise floor. Oh, you maintenance for the Vibe? There is no Vibe. I mean, maintenance. Yeah, on my Vibe, there's no maintenance either, except for maybe, I guess, a light bulb could go out. So kind of hoping that doesn't happen because, like I said, they're going out of business. So I don't know if I can get another light bulb. I guess I can. I don't even know what it looks like. All right. I'm going to probably go here pretty soon. Just move your camera a bit to the left. Oh, yeah. Why didn't I do that? Sorry. I didn't want you guys to watch me. But yeah, like I said, since I moved all the pedals around, I'm still working with the different stuff. I really like to keep the stuff as clean as possible, and I got to be sure I always have my clean sound. And sometimes you lose the clean sound. I got so many darn boosts going that I can't get a clean sound, but it's still there. I just got to make sure it's still there. Volume is getting low. Oh, shoot, I'm behind here. Oh, that chain. I'll explain it one more time because it is kind of crazy. And you can't see everything. It's the Vibe Baby, a reissue, Dennis Cornell, Fuzzface, Area 51 Wah-Wah, OCD, which I had on for a few seconds. The Alienist is the Area 51 right there. I had it on for a few seconds, but it was a little bit too much. My MXR right there, which I had it on at the beginning. There's the Mr. White. Then this is my amp switcher. That's just a power supply, the green one. Then it goes from there to 2 reverb units. One reverb unit is right there. That's a reissue that's been hand wired back to the original specs. The Echoplex, and then behind the Super Reverb is a vintage Fender reverb unit. I have a reverb on each bassman. I keep them pretty low because I've had one of my buddies complaining it's too much reverb, and it's weird. The camera, these cameras, it doesn't sound like there's any reverb when I'm recording. And since these things attenuate, you know, they'll shut the volume down when I hit those loud notes, and then as it builds back up again, it picks up the reverb like crazy and drives everybody nuts. So I keep them low, but it may have still messed things up. I can't hear them here that much. And that's it. The Echoplex, I just like goofing around with that darn thing. I mean, it's kind of noisy. But it does sound good if you keep the volume down. Yeah, the Funky Vibe, it has a chorus switch on it. Or is it the vibrato switch? I mean, Nick demoed that. I personally don't like that sound. It's kind of detunes the notes, but it could be handy when you don't want the vibe. Brennan. What is Brennan doing here? I just see a oscillation saying Brennan. Trying to figure out what that means. Well, all right. I mean, we didn't have very many people and not a big turnout, but everybody will be able to watch this video later. Nick, you still there? Bern in Germany. Brennan equals Bern in Germany. I still don't. I know there's a town in Bremen. You're not talking about Bremen? Okay, Nick. All right. Well, yeah, let's see. Anything else? Any other questions you guys want to go over? Like I said, I'm going to do a good Mr. White demo. I hope you could hear that I could, control the volume of the amps, which really is going to be handy for me. And I said, what did I have it at 11 o'clock? I mean, the thing goes all the way up to 5 o'clock. So now I could, make the amps louder if I wanted to. So it's got a big range there. Bern in Germany. Add a clean signal to a vibe, you can get a chorus sound. Yeah, I can't do that. I mean, it's not a stereo, but bringing that up, I noticed that when I play both amps, one dry and one with the Echoplex, the echo actually sounds better that way. That's kind of cool. So it's all about experimenting. I mean, you got to work on your own sound. I mean, I was hoping I'd get my own sound, and that's really what I'm shooting for. Shoot, what age? I don't even remember. It was so, I think it was a different lifetime. I just remember my first amp, and I actually built it. So I think I got the soldering bug back then, but I was 16. Everybody wanted to be a rock star back then. There's this company called Heathkit, and they used to sell everything, but they were parts, so you had to put them together. I'm just going to show you. I've still got actually, I bought this all put together. Shoot, I just made a mess. This is Heathkit. Look, where does it say Heathkit? Heathkit vacuum tube voltage meter. Somebody put this together. I use this sometimes. Old style voltage meter. And my first amp was a solid state Heathkit. I put that thing together and it sounded like crud. I think the circuit board on was about this big, and it may add a 12-inch speaker, but that's what I had to start with. And a Univox, I think it was a Univox hollow body guitar. Oh, those were the days. Then I bought, when I first joined the band back then, I bought an amp made by Custom. I don't know if you guys remember Custom with a K. They were pretty popular with Creedence Clearwater in it, but they made a cheap line called Casino with a K, and it was cheap. They had lifetime. Don't ever buy an amp that has lifetime guaranteed speakers, because all that means is you'll be going to back to the music store every weekend to get new speakers after you blow them. But I played that thing for a year or two with that band, and we survived. And after all those years of playing junk, I finally got my vintage tweed and blackface amps, and been in heaven ever since. But I don't have a lot of use for them right now, because except for you guys showing you that what you can do with them. Let's see. Ghostbusters, yeah. I got a lot of Ghostbusters stuff. Not as much as some people, though. I got these things. I got these. You ever heard of these? And this is called records. Well, I know you put a little needle on there and it vibrates and makes noise. It actually sounds better than digital, though. I'm sure you guys know that, but some kids don't. Yeah, I've been real. It looks like a plate, a round plate. Yeah, I guess plates are round now. Vinyl is king. It is, man. I thank God. When my dad passed away, he left me a whole album collection, and you wouldn't believe the quality of those records and how well he took care of them. I love listening to those things. Let's see. Somebody's sending messages. Well, this ended up being a long video, hour and 20 minutes. I don't think anybody's going to sit there. Epiphone Casino. Yeah, no, this was a Univox. Yeah, the Epiphone Casino. That's what the Beatles played. Those are great guitars. And shoot, even Gary Clark Jr. started out with that for a while. Then he switched to that SG that the guy in the Foo Fighters gave him. Forgot his name. I'm not real good with those younger bands, but yeah, those are great guitars. I wish I had one. Sold it. He sold it. Yeah, that sad face is right. Oh, I can vouch for the shipping delay through customs is not long at all. Maybe 8 days. It was less than 10. I think it was 9 maybe. Because I always give them 10 days when I send stuff to Spain. But from Argentina, it was pretty quick. I was surprised. Give it 9 days. $17. Yeah, I don't know. That 17, the Mr. White, when you sent it to me, Nick, only took 9 days. I think I timed it. I was looking for it. 17 is a long time. I mean, the Spain's about 10 days. Romania was 10 days. No, Romania was 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, mine was fast. Like I said, and the good thing is Nicolás has got all those new old stock parts down there. He doesn't put all new old stock, but he's got the old cadmium photocells and what else? Those transistors, those Japanese transistors you were talking about, Nick. You never did tell me. Is that what was in the original Uni-Vibe, or are those just new old stock Japanese? Yeah, Topo Pops. That sucks about the import taxes. Now, I don't know if there's a way around that. I mean, I got a story about that, and Nick probably knows too. Hey, Pat, good night. Well, yeah, we'll get together soon, man. We got to work on this recording quality. I really could use some help. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. But as far as this is the story, my wife sent some shoes that they only paid $30 for to Spain to my daughter. And she thought, well, I'll put the value of what they were, which she even raised the value. She put $50 on there. So when they got them in Spain, the mailman wanted 28 euros, which is like $31. So the darn shoes cost twice as much as what they should have. So the trick is to not put a high value on there, but I don't know how much of that you can get away with. When I shipped the thing to the effect of Romania, it was a gift. So it really, I would consider it zero, but I put $10 on there and he didn't have to pay any import tax. So I don't know if it's possible to put $10 on the effects that you send, Nick, but the lower, the better. And effects are pretty easy since they're so small. Gift items. Yeah. Gift item. Well, like I said, put $10 on there. You might have to pay a few dollars to get it out. Insurance only covers the value you put down. Yeah, that's, I guess, the risk you got to take. But then I've heard if even fighting with insurance, you don't always get your money's worth or get anything. It takes you forever. You just give up. Only US dollar, $50 and put like other. Never an issue. I would hope that effects are pretty low dollar. But I mean, even if you had to pay 20 or 30, what is it, pounds? You guys go, the Brexit guys are still on pounds. I don't know why I said that, Brexit. I mean, I know it's in the news right now, but you guys have always been on the pound, I think. And I'm not even sure how much pound is worth right now. This is crazy. I'm going shipping stuff around the world. Let's see. $1 equals 0.7857 pounds. And 1 pound equals $1.27, $1.27. Okay, you guys, thanks for coming. It's been kind of crazy. I wish, hopefully, everybody will watch the video tomorrow that didn't join us tonight. I'm just reading some of your comments. All right, I know, Nick, it's getting late over there. So you guys want to call it quits? Custom had some great bass amps. Yeah, Custom was there. As far as I know, they're still cool with that tuck and roll covering they had on there, the metallic metal flake. Those things are pretty cool. But the other guitar player had a Marshall half stack, which everybody loved, and I had that piece of junk Casino, which I thought was a cool amp, but it wasn't. And then I had all kinds of weird amps in between. Ampeg, little Ampeg looked like a tweed bassman. Mesa Boogie, which I hated. Actually, Guitarologist has a funny video now on the repairing of Mesa Boogie that he's already repaired once, and he hates that amp. There's just too much stuff in one of those things. Simpler the better. That's why I love these old babies. I can fix these. Just takes a soldering gun and read a book. All right, Nick, you guys ready to go to bed? Let's see I got a message here. I want to see what Ron has to say.
Wanna be a holiday hero with a view.
Well, let's hope. What the? I got some kind of crazy comment. Oh my gosh, what is this? That's one of the craziest comments I've seen in a while. All right. Let's see what else we got. Okay. All right, you guys. Good night, Nicolás. I'll talk to you soon. Just wanted you guys to know that that Vibe's probably the best thing you're going to get for the money right now, and I can't wait to get mine. Good night. Talk to you guys later.